Good afternoon, everyone.
Afternoon.
Nice to see all of you today. Thank you for joining us for our special Obon and Hatsubon service on this Saturday. The weather is wonderful, so we'll have a very nice service, and that will lead to our Bon Odori tonight. So hope all of you will be able to join us for the Odori. Today, we're very privileged to have as our officiant, our supervising minister, Reverend Gregory Gibbs from the Pasadena Buddhist Temple. And our guest speaker today is Reverend John Turner from the Orange County Buddhist Church. Thank you for joining us today. And we have our minister's assistants assisting us today with Sharon Sasaki, Yukari Williams, Noriko, Kawai, Bill Teague, and Arturo Rubio. So thank you for everyone's help today's service. Also, I'd like to introduce to you where's my note? Oh, here it is. I'd like to introduce Linda Gibbs. I'm sorry, Linda Turner. Linda Turner. She accompanied John Sensei to San Diego. So Linda, can you please stand? Thank you very much. And also here joining us today is Mrs. Gibbs, Kyoko Gibbs, our supervising Oksan. So can you please stand? Thank you for attending today. We will begin this afternoon's service with a chanting of the Sanbujo, and that can be found on page 21 of the service book. And that will be followed by the Hyobyakumon, or the intention of today's service, and then the Sutra chanting of the Shoshinge.
Bujo Mida Nyolai Niundo Jo Sangha Sangha Today, on this occasion of the combined Obon and Hatsubon service for the year 2025, the members of the Buddhist Temple of San Diego, our friends and our guests, repeat our reliance upon the three treasures of the truth. We rely upon the Buddha, we rely upon the Dharma, we rely upon the Sangha. Namandabutsu, Namidabutsu, Namandabutsu, 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 Namidabutsu, Namidabutsu. Thank you very much, and we will move on to chanting the Shoshinge. Page 58. Kimyo Muryo Junyorai Namo Fuka Shigiko Odo Bothatsu Inniji Zaise Jidai Obusho Token Shobuten Yodo In Okudo Ninden Shiden Mak Konryu Mujo Shushogan Chohoten Keiyu Daiguze Goko Shiui Shishodyu Nyute Myosho Monjipo Uho Muryo Muenko Muge Mutai Koen no Shoujo Kangi Chieko Udan Nanji Mutyoko Shonichi Gakko Shojin Sets Ithai Gunjo Muko Sho Hongan Myogo Tyonyongo Shishin Shingyo Ganni In Joto Gakusho Daine Han Hishi Metno Ganjo Ju Nyorai Shoi Kochute Yui Thattu Mina Hongan Kai Gojoku Akuji Gunyo Kai Oshin Nyorai Nyo Jitsugon No Ichinen Ki Aishin Hudan Bono Tokune Han Bonyo Gyakuho Tai Enyu Nyoshu Shinyu Kai Ichimi Feshu Shinko Nyoshongo Ino Tui Hamumyo An Tonnai Shindo Shi Unmu Jo Shinjitsu Shinjinden Inyo Niko Hu Unmu Unmu Shige Myomu An Gyakushin Kenkyo Daikyo Ki Tokuo Chodatsugo Akushu Isai Then Makubon Bunin Shin Yorai Gudegan Butsugon Kodak Shogesha Seinin Yo Fundarike Mida Butsu Honganen John kenkyoman nakushujo shingyo juji jinninan nanchu shinan mukashi indo thaiten shirange shukajichi iki shikoto kendai shoko te shoi myonyorai honzeoki shaka nyorai rogaten ishu gomyo nantenji ryuju daiji shuto te tsuno zaiha umuken zetsu daijo munyoho shokan giji shoanwa kenji nangyo roku shingyo igyo shidorak okunen mira butsu hongan jinen sokuji nyuhitsujo yui no nyosho nyoraigo hodai higudeon tenjin bothatndoram sets kimyo muge konyorai eshu tara kenshinjit kosten ocho daisegan koryuhongan rikieko ido unyo sho ishin kinyu kudoku dai hokai itsugaku nyudai eshushu tokushi renge dote kai sokusho shinyo hosho jin yubono ringen jinzu nyusho jion jioge honshi donran ryotenshi joko ransho bosatsurai sanzo rushi jujokyo bonjo sengyo kiraku ho tenjin bothatnon chuge hodo inga kensegan neko yutarik shoujo shi-in yui shinjin wakuzen bonbu shinjin po shochi shoji sokune han ishi muryo komyodo shoshujo kaifuke doshaku kesho doransho yui myodo katsunyu denji Shinke Ongon Domatsu Homatsu Dohin Isho Do Akuchigu De Shi An Yogai Shomyo Zendo Dokomyo Bushoi Kawai Jothan Yogyaku Ak Komyo Myogo Kenninnen Kanyu Hongandai Chikai Gyobya Shoju Kongoshin Yogi Shengo Yoi Daito Gyakusan Soku Shoho Shoshijorak Genshin Kokai Ichidai Kyo Henki Anyo Kanyasai Senzo Shushin Hantenjin Oke Ni Shoben Ryu Kuju Akunin Yui Shobutsu Shu Onno Shogun Sui Huken Dai Muken Shodoga Unshigen Kumyo Bukyo Renmin Zen Makubon Bunin Shinshu Kyosho Henshu Senjaku Hongangu Akuse Genrai Shoji Lindenge Kechi Gijo Isho Shu Yokuryu Jakujo Mu Irak Ichi Shinjin Ino Nyu Gukyo Daiji Shushito Josai Buhen Goku Joku Aku Dodoku Jishu Guroshin Yuikai Shinshi Koso Sen Namandabu 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 Gani Shikudoku Yodo Sei Isai Don Momai Shin Onyo Namanda Buddhamanda, Namanda, 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 Buddhamanda, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu.
Thank you. Now we will have the recitation of our pledge. Our pledge can be found on the back of the program. Our pledge is written by Senyo Shonin. He's the Gomonchu Otani Kojun, the 25th descendant, direct descendant of Shinran Shonin. Our pledge. Breaking out of my shell, I shall share a warm smile and speak gentle words, just like a kind
Buddha.
not becoming lost in my greed, anger, and ignorance.
I shall think and act with an open mind, just like the calm and peaceful Buddha.
Not putting myself first,
I will share in the joy and sadness of others, just like the compassionate Buddha. Realizing the gift of life I have received, I shall strive to live each day to its fullest, the Buddha who tirelessly works to liberate all.
Please place your hands together in Gassho. Namo Amida Butsu.
Namo Amida Butsu.
Namo Amida Butsu. Namo
Namo
Amida
Amida
Butsu.
Butsu.
Namo Amida Butsu.
Namo Amida Butsu.
Thank you. Next, we will have incense offering by the various representatives of the temple, beginning with the Dharma school staff, Sharon, Sasaki. Representing the Dharma school students and Sangha teens, Kobe Kawahara. Junior YBA, Paulina Covarrubias. The Adult Buddhist Association, Greg Yonekura. The Buddhist Women's Association. Is Junko or Sue here? No? Aoyama Oksan, can you please represent the BWA for Oshoko? Is anyone from the Taiko group present? No. Okay. Oh, Anne, I'm sorry. Anne Ong. Representing the Komon, the past presidents of the temple, Joyce Teague. and Glenn Nagodo. And representing the Buddhist temple, Kurt Yasuhara. Thank you. Will everyone please rise for the singing of the Gatha Namo Amida Butsu, can be found on page 122 of the service book. Thank you. You may be seated. At this time, we will have our Hatsubon, honoring our Hatsubon individuals who have passed away since Obon of 2024. So when I call your name, the family's name, could you please come forward, and the lead individual from your family will light the candle, will be assisted by Reverend Gibbs, and then the rest of the family members can offer incense using each of the three incense burners. Okay. When Reverend Gibbs is ready. This year we have a number of families who are honoring their loved ones for today's Hatsubon service. And thank you to all of you who participated in the lantern making in the annex. That's a very nice way of honoring your loved one who have passed away. And later on, before the Odori begins, the lanterns will be hung outside before the Odori, the dance, begins. Okay. Naomi Tanaka. Yes, your whole family can come up and. Yes. Sally Ishihara. Akie Tomiyama. Miyako Tachiki. Hideki Shimasaki. the family's not here today. Thank you. Michiko Nishida. Masako Ida. Naoe Kasubuchi. Hiroshi Nishida. Etsuko Johnson. Oh, yeah, Sensei. Sensei, their family isn't here today. Helen Sasaki. Candice Oyama. Jean Morioka. Thank you. On behalf of the temple, we're very saddened by the loss of your loved ones during 2024. We deeply appreciate your gratitude and kindness to the temple and coming out today to honor your loved one with today's special Hatsubon memorial. And for those of you, we will have the candles will remain lit after the service is over. So if you'd like to take photos, you may do so. The Hondo will be open until the time of the Odori begins. So you're welcome to stay to reflect and take photos if you wish. We will now have introduction of our guest speaker. Today's our guest speaker is Reverend John Turner from the resident minister of the Orange County Buddhist Church, and to provide the introduction will be Reverend Gibbs.
This will be a very brief introduction, not just because Reverend Turner is humble, but because all the information he gave me about himself I left in the office. But as best I remember, Reverend John Turner had a career of more than 30 years in IT, computer work, and when he joined the Orange County Buddhist Church in 1999, he began training not a couple years after that as a minister's assistant, and then decided to retire from the computer field and fully train as a Jodo Shinshu minister. Received his master's degree at the Institute of Buddhist Studies, and he was ordained, and he's been at the Orange County Buddhist Church now as the resident minister there. Besides having a background in computer studies, he is very knowledgeable about popular culture, which we should learn during his talk. He's probably the most articulate of our ministers with the medium. That's something I am completely incapable of. So he's kind of the anti-Gibbs. And so for a little balance, we're going to have the Obon service Dharma message from Reverend John Turner. He's come here, as you know, his wife was introduced. He and his wife Linda have 2 children and 2 grandchildren. And so we're very pleased that they could tear themselves away from their family duties to be at our Obon service today, and I will turn the mic over to Reverend John Turner, our speaker for today.
Naman Dav.
Namonabutsu,
Namondabutsu,
Namonabutsu, 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 Namonabutsu.
The other thing I know a lot about is the Beatles. And it caught my eye. We have somebody wearing a George Harrison shirt. And, you know, as George Harrison said, all things must pass, right? And he meant it in a very sincere, profound, religious sense. And, you know, we have to do that at Hatsubon as well. We have to go on a journey in Buddhism from maybe grief, maybe guilt, to a deep sense of gratitude. But it's not exactly clear how we're supposed to do this. And I often hear people say about our founder, Shinran Shonin, that he seems really, really honest. And I think he is really honest, but most religious leaders, I think, are honest. I think sometimes it's a synonym or a euphemism for harsh. I find him to be quite harsh. And I realize he's not being harsh. He's challenging our ideas about free will, self-control, being a self-made person. So I think that's where we're going to head today. And I wanted to relate it to Obon and really being aware of how we got here, all the causes and conditions and relationships so far back that we can't possibly even imagine that led to us being here today. And it can be kind of frightening when you realize that, but it's also freeing. You can exhale. When good things happen in your life, you realize it wasn't your will, and you could have a deep sense of gratitude and appreciation. And the part I really like is when things go wrong, you're not a victim. It's not your fault. When I watch TV shows, when something bad happens, all the characters say, oh, if I'd only done this, or if I'd only done that, it wouldn't have happened. Like they're in charge of the world, and if they had just made a different choice, everything would have been different. And it's kind of a very self-centered way of looking at the world. So before I get started, I wanted to thank Sensei Gibbs, the AV crew, Ralph, Brevin, and Ken, and the MAs for inviting me down, and my wife, Linda. She came with me. I don't think I would have navigated as well in the car or in life without my wife. And I do an experiment. You could try this at home after the talk. You can take an event in your life and deconstruct it, and you can start to figure out all the things that had to happen just right for that event to occur. And I did that with meeting Linda. You know, all the things that had to fall just the right way for us to meet on life cycles next to one another at the gym in Costa Mesa. It's kind of amazing. Scary, but amazing. So I'd like to start with two quotations today. You won't find them in the Kyogyo Shinsho or in your service book, but I wanted to read these to you. One of the beautiful implications of accepting the intertwined, contingent way the world really works is that everyone and everything that a person does in a lifetime matters. Many of our ripple effects will be hidden to us. The truth of this fresh worldview provides a much more potent message than any self-help book can imagine. We may control nothing, but we influence everything. If you think of yourself as a constituent part of a greater whole, a sentient, complex being that is constantly causing and being caused by the unity of an interconnected world stretching well beyond your most distant ancestors, then acknowledging this tapestry can feel exhilarating. Namo Amida Butsu, Naman Dabuts. So I'm going to cover a book today. It's this book called Fluke by Brian Klaus, and it's just as harsh and honest as Shinran Shonin. And the recommendation I got for this book was from Reverend Jerry Hirano. He told me, you got to read this book. And I found out later this is Reverend Hirano's favorite quote. The author begins the book by saying, I began to wonder whether the history of humanity is just an endless but futile struggle to impose order, certainty, and rationality onto a world defined by disorder, chance, and chaos. But I also began to flirt with an alluring thought that we could find new meaning in that chaos, learning to celebrate a messy, uncertain reality by accepting that we and everyone around us are all just flukes, spit out by a universe that can't be tamed. So I have a feeling this might be Reverend Hirano's elevator speech on what Namo Amida Butsu means. And as a mathematician too, words like disorder, chance, and chaos all have very negative connotations in our culture. But mathematically, there's something very powerful in it and very meaningful. So the weird thing is the way I was actually able to get this book was also a series of odd coincidences and strange happenings. So Reverend Hirano told me to get the book Fluke, and I thought I'd heard of that book before somewhere. So I looked through my office, and I found that I already had a book called Fluke. I have Fluke. It was one of the worst books I've ever read. I usually finish every book I buy because I'm stubborn, but I only read about 50 pages, and this was incredibly dry. It had lots of math in it. It didn't move me. It had no feeling. And I thought, well, maybe this was an earlier edition of this book. Well, it turns out that's Brian Klaus, and this is The Math and Myth of Coincidence. So I didn't know you could do this, but you can write 2 different books by 2 different authors and use the same title. So that was the first hurdle I had to get over, is I didn't have the book that Reverend Hirano had recommended, even though I had a book in my office called Fluke. So then I went up on Amazon, and I looked up Brian Klaus this time, and I sent away for it, because I always do what Jerry Hirano tells me. And this book appeared at my door. This is the book that was used as the basis for the Hulu series, The Bear. It's won a lot of Emmys. It's incredibly popular. It's about this cook, this chef, he's a master chef. And he has all these helpers and other chefs there. And almost like ministers would call each other sensei, in the show, they all call each other chef. Yes, chef. Yes, chef. And it doesn't matter if you're the top chef or a just beginning sous chef, everybody calls each other chef. And I told my wife, I don't know what's going on. Like, I thought I had the book Fluke, and I didn't. And I just ordered it, and now I have this book. Well, I think what happened was it's a fluke. They're both yellow, and they're both the same size. And this has never happened to me before, but somebody at Amazon just grabbed a yellow book that looked like this one and sent it to me. So I had to go back and look it up again. And I finally was able to get this book. And it starts out with the author admitting that he was a disillusioned social scientist. Disillusioned because he said of the long nagging feeling that the world doesn't really work the way we pretend it does. The more he grappled with the complexity of reality, the more he suspected that we have all been living a comfortable lie, from the stories we tell ourselves to the myths we use to explain history and social change. So a lot of things that go on in the world are much more driven by chance than by being initiated with forethought. And it's kind of scary. So as I said, I have to work the Beatles into every Dharma talk. So 60 years ago, February 9th, 1964, 73 million Americans watched the Beatles first appear on the Ed Sullivan Show. And I didn't mean to do this, but I feel bad. Ringo, as usual, is cropped out of the picture. I know, I feel bad, poor Ringo. So one of the theories for the Beatles, I love the Beatles, and I think they're the greatest band in an absolute logical, rational sense. Using all my free will and my ability to calculate, they're by far, it's self-evident, they're the best band ever. But the story, the theory, from looking at it from chance, is that John F. Kennedy had been killed in November of 1963. And no band from England had made it in the United States before the Beatles came over. I mean, we had Elvis Presley. We had Little Richard. We had lots of stars. We had the Blues from Memphis. We didn't really need a band from England to come over. We were satiated with great music. But after Kennedy was assassinated, our country was in a deep state of sadness. We were looking for something collectively. They call these convergent events, where our culture was on the precipice of wanting to discover something new and happy and different. And walking through into that opportunity unknowingly were the Beatles. So some theorize that if it wasn't for the assassination of John F. Kennedy, we never would have had the first British invasion, the second British invasion. A lot of these things happen because events are conspiring in favor of this outcome or result. And in this book, he also talks a lot about, we all understand the butterfly effect, that there's a lot of movies made where if you go back in time and you change something small, when you come back to the future, everything is completely different. And I kind of appreciate that. I kind of understand it. This was a Netflix series. It was called 11/22/63, about the assassination of John F. Kennedy. And they never explain how they could do this, but several characters on the show were going back in time to 1963 to try to stop Lee Harvey Oswald. But it was really, really hard to do because it's a convergent event. Everything in reality was aiming in that direction. It was not just a one-off. There was a lot of things going on politically, the Cuban Missile Crisis. A lot of things were conspiring against John F. Kennedy, and it would take much more than just one person going back for a day and changing that reality. So this we understand well, and we accept it. And the way the movie ends, maybe I shouldn't tell you, but they do stop John F. Kennedy from being killed. George Wallace wins the presidency instead of Lyndon B. Johnson, and the United States is living in a global winter. There was a war, a conflict, nuclear conflict between the United States and Russia. So, you can change things maybe, but you don't know how it's going to change. So what he says in this book is what we don't really appreciate is all the decisions we make today that change everything for tomorrow. Like we appreciate it going back in time, but he's saying the people you smile at Starbucks, the tip you give at a restaurant, being there for a friend and just listening on the phone. I mean, these little things we do every day could change lives and change the trajectory of people we know without even knowing it. And so that's what this little graph in the upper left-hand corner shows, is when you make a choice, you're not stuck on that path moving forward. You've opened up a vista of choices and paths and opportunities every time you make a choice. You're opening up a brand new set of outcomes that are now possible to you. And he also used the example of driving and traffic. Every decision you make when you drive has consequences. Nothing bad happened, but my daughter left our house for work one day 5 minutes earlier than she usually does. And 5 minutes later, we got a call from her. Somebody ran a red light and hit her in her car. Now, she was fine, but she was very emotionally upset. But this is like one of those events. She kept thinking it was her fault. What did I do wrong? I mean, the only thing she did wrong is she just went to work 5 minutes early. If she'd gone 5 minutes later, nothing would have happened. And so talking about fault or guilt in these kind of situations doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. It's just outcomes due to all the effects coming together to make an event. So in the book, he also references another movie. It's called Sliding Doors, and it stars Gwyneth Paltrow. And it came out in 1998. And this is kind of that little graph I showed you. It shows her life and how it would be different if she made her train on a specific day or not. And everything in her life flows out of this event, whether she makes it to the tube, the underground, and gets on the tube to get back to her house or not. So the setup for the movie is first she gets fired from her job that morning at work. She's upset. she gets in the elevator and she drops her earring. And some man that you don't really notice that much picked her up and gave her her earring. Well, that person ends up being her future husband, but we don't know that yet. So she puts the earring back in her ear, having met this guy in a sense. And then she gets to the tube, and there's a mother and daughter coming up the stairs, and they don't move out of the way quick enough, and she's unable, in one version of the story, to make her train, to make her connection. So she doesn't get home in time to find out that her husband's seeing another woman because she missed the train. So you figure that that's the end of it. But it turns out in both versions, she still falls in love with the guy that picked up her earring in the elevator at work. And that's because this event is contingent. She lives in the same area of London. They have the same circle of friends. And so it's very interesting. It's not fate. It's not destiny. But it's that when we have events that are convergent, they kind of push you along effortlessly. Almost maybe the way Shinran talks about other power. You're floating on a maze or a grid of all these causes and conditions. So I'd like to show you this clip from the film. So that man that got on the train before her and sitting next to her on the train is the same man who picked up her earring in the elevator. So I was kind of disappointed with the movie because she ends up with the guy in both versions of reality, and I thought they were implying fate, but as I said, this is a convergent event. Everything has been leading up to her meeting this guy. One event can't change that. And so there's two kinds of events that he talks about, convergent and contingent. And contingent are the ones that happen quickly. Traffic, weather, stock market, those kind of things are very sensitive to small changes. And we call this in math chaos. So chaos just means that a single small change can cause a radical change in outcome. And one of the most famous ones that I think is cool, and this was kind of discovered in 1977, is when you have a dripping faucet, if it's dripping a lot, it'll just go dun, 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 dun. But if you turn it off all the way, it won't drip. But there's like a little situation right in the middle where if the water is just right, it kind of circles the vent, the drain, and it kind of drips in these random ways around the vent of the faucet. And so this is a chaotic system. It's right in your bathroom. You know, nothing terrible happens. It's just that it's not predictable when the next drip is going to come or from where. And I wanted to show you another one. This is a two-hinge pendulum, and it's wildly chaotic. This person drops 4 or 5 of these at the same time from the exact same spot, and they all have completely different outcomes because it's a chaotic system.
This pendulum is really it's called a double pendulum because there are 2 pivots, one here and one here. And if I release face it, things start out relatively simple, but suddenly get very complicated. This motion is so weird that physicists call it chaotic. One property of chaotic systems is that no matter how hard I try to set this up in exactly the same way twice, my differences between the way I release the pendulum each time mean that the motion ends up looking erratic. Let's rewind and try that again slowly. Because they were released from almost the same position, they start off moving quite similarly, but slowly at first they drift apart, and eventually very small differences between how I release them are amplified, and the pendulum's motion looks erratic, completely unrelated to each other. This chaotic motion is actually impossible to predict precisely, which is why
So there's things in life, I thought that was nice, that you just can't predict. It almost doesn't matter what you do. The outcomes are wildly erratic and different. And like I said, the stock market is like that. The supply chain fell apart during COVID. They say it's a highly optimized system without any spare capacity. So it's highly sensitive to minute changes. And I'm not going to go into this weather example for too long, but in the book he said that, and I've always thought this and I've never read it anywhere, is I don't know what it means to say there's 60% chance of rain. I don't know what that means. Does that mean like 60% of the area of San Diego County is going to get rain that day? Or does it mean every day that's exactly like this, there's a 60% chance of rain? I don't know what it means. And he said in the book that as you get closer to the day, weather forecasts get more accurate. But he said that it's still a highly volatile, chaotic system. And he said that what the weather people tend to do is if it's a 50% chance of rain, they'll say 60. So that if they're wrong and it doesn't rain, you'll be happy. But if they say 50 and it does rain, you'll be mad because you went on your picnic because you said it wasn't going to rain. So they finagle these numbers on the local news so that if they err on the side of sunshine. So that made me feel really good. I always thought 60% chance of rain. It might rain. I mean, the forecast is it might rain, it might not rain. That's about as good as you can get out of this. So this is where things start to get interesting. It says, if we wish to rescue free will from the jaws of causes and conditions, then we must propose that the human brain has a unique magical property replicated nowhere else in the known universe, that within our brains is some otherworldly supernatural substance that is completely independent and totally different from every other type of matter in the universe, allowing us to make independent decisions. So basically, to have free will, your brain has to be somehow isolated from this vast ocean of causes and conditions. And what I really liked about this book, sometimes when I read a book like this, the first 100 pages are great, but there's not enough book for 200 pages. The first 3/4 of this book really sets up a challenge to ideas about free will. And I thought it was great. And I have an example for you. This happened about 10 or 15 years ago on my iPhone, but I uploaded all my music. And because I love the Beatles, my iPhone was like 80% Beatle music. And I really liked the Beatles, but I really thought, I should know who some of these other artists are. As a minister, I should kind of be in popular culture just a little bit. So what I did is I went to Pandora Radio. And Pandora Radio, you listen to random music, and you just click the songs that you like. So I thought this will be a great way for me to start to get a broad range of music in my life, and I'll be able to talk to junior YBA kids once in a while. Because I watch commercials, and Emily's like, oh yeah, that's so-and-so, he's so famous. And I'm like, who is, where, what happened? So a month or two would go by, and I would click what I liked and what I didn't like. And then one day, it played Hey Jude by the Beatles. And I thought, well, that's okay. I mean, I'm still listening to a lot of new music, And I do like the Beatles. And then a couple days later, I'm the Walrus came on. And I was like, and then the next day, 2 or 3 Beatles songs came on. And after a couple weeks, most of the songs that were coming on Pandora Radio were Beatles songs. And it kind of scared me. I thought AI was like reading my mind, or I got a little scared. And then I thought it was a practical joke. So I'm a computer programmer, and you can go into Pandora Radio and you can ask it, why did you pick this song for me? And the reason why is all the songs I was picking that I liked are related musically to the Beatles. So I'm nurtured to like the Beatles. There's something, I've been conditioned to like the Beatles. It might have been my grandfather humming songs, playing the radio. It could have been what my mom sang to me when I was born. I mean, I don't know what it is, but it said that I love tight harmonies. It said I love guitar over piano, which I didn't know any of this. And then the computer told me that I love vamping. I don't even know what vamping is, but I really like vamping. So there's a music genealogy. AI is not as tricky as it sounds. It takes all the music and it relates it to each other, kind of like a family tree. So like the Everly Brothers are kind of related to the Beatles. And the Beatles influenced other bands. And like ELO supposedly is what the Beatles would have sounded like if they hadn't have broken up. So there's a genetic DNA of music. And I was clicking on songs that fit this profile of which the Beatles epitomize. And so I don't like the Beatles because of free will. I didn't decide to love the Beatles. He says in this book that, like, if you love chocolate, did you really sit down and write out all the positive things that chocolate has versus vanilla or butterscotch or caramel? Like, did you look at the calories, the sugar content, the price? Did you do taste tests blindfolded? You just ate chocolate and you loved it. And I heard the Beatles and I loved them. So I think a lot of our decisions in life are like that. Like, you fall in love, you don't decide to love someone. It just fits. It just works. I don't know if I really chose to be a mathematician. It just resonated with me for some reason. And you start to realize all your decisions are this way. Everything that's ever happened in the universe has led you to this point in your life, and you can't help but live out that destiny. So I'd like to close a little bit with some more of these wonderful quotations from this book. He says, embracing the beauty of uncertainty means a bit less emphasis on how your individual action in the present can produce an optimized future, and a bit more emphasis on celebrating the present that has been created for you. It's humbling to recognize that you're not the conductor of the symphony, but are rather one vibrating string within it. So, what we do is vitally important, just as everything everyone else does is vitally important. This is awe-inspiring. Our present moment is woven together with infinite threads that stretch back billions of years. Try to pull on one thread, hoping to change just one microscopic corner of the tapestry, and the entire fabric would begin to unravel. Tweak one strand, and likely you wouldn't exist, or perhaps a different partner, or even different children. So this is another thing. When your parents had kids, there's a 100% chance that someone was going to be born. But for you to be born, the probability is like 0 that you would actually be born, that everything came together genetically for you to actually be here. And it's really an amazing thing. So if someone else existed in your place, the world would be different. But you exist. You will have an impact on the world, some good, some bad, but all part of the tapestry. You matter down to the littlest, most insignificant decisions. Your actions, even your thoughts and feelings, will have ripple effects that emanate widely beyond what you'll ever see or realize, even beyond your lifetime. So I think this opens a new vista for how we appreciate the world. Not being responsible for everything and not feeling like a victim or feeling guilty is so liberating and so freeing. We're all along for the ride. We're all a team. We're all working together. And it means it's no one's fault. So these were two of my favorite quotations. It is only encountering the uncontrollable that we really experience the world. Only then do we feel touched, moved, and alive. And this is my elevator speech for Namo Amida Butsu. To live a wonder-smitten life with reality is the gladdest way to live. And I think when we say Namo Amida Butsu, we realize this fact that we're being compelled by conditions and causes beyond our conception. I opened with Reverend Jerry Hirano's favorite quote. It came early in the book. This is my favorite quote from the book. For a different tiny change, you might also have avoided that horrific heartbreak, or the loss of a loved one, or a close friend. This leads to a deeply moving conclusion. Our best moments and the worst moments are inexplicably linked. The happiest moments of your life are part of the same thread in which you suffered the most crushing despair. One cannot follow without the other. And I think this is why Shinran says he doesn't know the difference between good and bad and right and wrong. I've never seen a religious person proclaim, I really don't know right from wrong. But I think it's because we have a very finite view of reality. I don't know how things are going to unfold. Something positive might be negative and something negative might be positive. And yet we have to move forward in our life and we have to try to make a difference even though we're not always positive of the outcome. So in Buddhism, intentionality is very, very important. Having the right intention, the right view, moving forward with confidence, realizing that everything you do to everyone around you can be life altering for that person. So I think what Shinran does, to be honest and maybe a little harsh, he takes this idea of impermanence or interconnectedness or change, I think, to its logical conclusion. He takes it all the way to the end. Everything is a result of causes and conditions. Everything we think and say, everything we do in our life is a result of these relationships that build up over time. So I think this is a beautiful teaching. It lets us let go of our worries and lets us embrace with gratitude everything that has ever happened in our life. Some of the worst things in my life actually led me to practicing Buddhism. And so like Shinran says, I don't really know if these events were good or bad. I'll tell you 20 years from now. A lot of the bad things led me to becoming a minister. And now I treasure those bad moments, those things that really hurt at the time. They sent me on a trajectory into Buddhism where I could find real meaning in my life. So I want to thank you very much for listening. And I hope you go out into the world with a little bit less weight on your shoulder. Lean into the wind, breathe a deep breath, and feel secure and confident that you and everybody else is doing the best they can, and everything's going to be all right in an ultimate sense. So thank you very much. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Reverend Turner, for your fascinating Dharma message today. Something to really think about. Well, maybe we shouldn't think about it. You just go through life. Okay, next we'll have the reading of the Gobunsho, the letters of Renyo Shonin, and Reverend Gibbs will lead us in that reading.
Thank you, Ralph. Yeah, I'm going to go on to read the letter on the white ashes. I'll read it first in English translation by Reverend Dr. Taitetsuno, the late Reverend Dr. Taitetsuno, and then I'll read from the original Japanese text. We don't actually know who designed the dramatic reading. Renyo just wrote the letter, and somebody came in and said, raise your voice here, hold it there, drop it there, and it really does convey the feeling of the letter, I think, more than the words do to me. But it's some mysterious students of Renyo Shonin are to be thanked for this. So again, I'll first read the letter on the white ashes in English translation, and then I'll go back to the original Japanese text. Renyo Shonin's Gobunsho on the white ashes. As we deeply observe the transient form of human life, we realize that in this world, from the beginning to the end, what is momentary and passing is the illusory course of human life. Thus, we have not heard of anyone receiving human form which lasts for 10,000 years. The course of life ebbs very rapidly. Can a person preserve his or her body for 100 years at the present time? Not knowing whether death will come today or tomorrow, those who depart before us are as countless as the drops of dew. Therefore, in the morning we may have radiant health, and in the evening we may be white ashes. When the winds of uncertainty strike, our eyes are closed. When the last breath leaves our body, the healthy color of the face is transformed, and we lose the appearance of radiant life. Our loved ones may gather round and lament, but lamentation is to no avail. When such an event occurs, the body is sent into an open field and cremated, leaving only the white ashes. What a sad plight. Thus we see that what humans cannot control is the passing away of the young and the old alike. Therefore, we should all look to our future life and with deep reliance in Amida Buddha, repeat his holy name. Namo Amida Butsu. I'll read the same letter from the original Japanese text. Hakotsu no Sho. Sore, ningen no fusho naru so, tsura tsura, kanzuru ni, oyoso hakanaki mono wa, kono yo no shichuju, maboroshi no gotoku naru, ichigo nari. Sareba, imara mandai no ninjin no uketari, toyu koto kikazu, issho sugiyasu shi, imani itate, tareka 100年の業態保つべきや、我や先、人や先、清とも知らず、明日とも知らず、遅れ先立つ人は、元の雫、末の梅雨よりも、茂しと言えり。されば、明日には、こがんあって、ゆうべには箱となれるみなり。すれに無常の風来たりぬれば、すなわち二つの真中、たちまちに閉じ、一つの息長く耐えぬれば、こがん虚しく返じて、鳥のよそおよ失いぬるときは、六神眷属集まって、悲しい嘆き悲しめども、さらにその会あるべからず、さてしもあるべきことならねばとて、野外に多くて、弱の煙となし果てぬれば、ただ Hakoten no mizo no ko ready. Aware toyu mo naka naka orokanari. Sareba ningen no hakanaki koto wa rosho fujo no sakai nareba. Tare no hito mo hayaku gosho no ichidaiji o kokoro ni kakete amira butto fukaku tanomimarasete nenbuten mo subeki mononari anakashiko anakashiko namanda butsu namomita butsu namanda butsu namanda butsu namomita butsu namanda butsu. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sensei, for the recitation of the White Ashes, the Gobunsho. At this time, the temple will recognize the college graduates, and I'd like to call upon Kimberly Cruz to make the presentations. And Avis Honda.
I always have to lower the microphone. So on behalf of the Buddhist Temple of San Diego Dharma School, we'd like to present, recognize these young adults, I keep wanting to call them students, recent college graduates. We have 5 of them that we're recognizing today. And I'd like to ask them to come up, them and their parents, to come up and Oshoko, and we have a little something for them as well. So first, I have Jenna Masuda. So she graduated from University of Oregon with a BA in psychology and a minor in sociology. She's a teacher in Teach America program, teaching math and science, and she'll be working towards her teaching credential and master's. So I'm not sure if anyone's here today. So next, I have Chad Sasaki. So we do have a certificate of congratulations from the BCA. So just I'd like to just read through this. So in recognition of your graduation, the Buddhist Churches of America extend sincere congratulations on your educational achievements and high standards of citizenship. We look forward to your leadership and service in supporting the noble cause of spreading the light of Amida's wisdom and compassion. So Chad graduated from Cal Poly San Luis Obispo with a BA in Communication Studies and minor in Media. He's currently working as a PR specialist at Spigen. Congratulations. I think if you wanted to stand on the other side there, I'm sure we'll get a picture. We probably will get photos. We always do. So Jenna Sasaki. Jenna graduated from UC Riverside with a BS in Business Administration with a concentration in marketing. She's currently interning in product management in the Bay Area. Congratulations, Jenna. Sean Tokunaga. Sean graduated from Cal State Fullerton with a BA in Cinema and Television Arts. So his plan is to get into film or television work or anything involving cameras or video editing. And then Zoe Yamamoto. Zoe graduated from UC Irvine with a BS in computer science and is a user interface experience designer. So if we'd like to give one more round of applause for all of our graduates, for all of their achievements. Sensei, do you want to also join in the photo? Congratulations again.
Congratulations to all the college graduates and to your future endeavors. Next, we'll have words of appreciation from our temple president, Kurt Yasuhara.
Hi, on behalf of the Buddhist Temple, I would like to thank all of you for coming today, especially those that came to remember your loved ones. On behalf of the temple, we appreciate you sharing today's remembrance with us. Many, if not all, were integral parts of this temple, building it to what it is today. So we really appreciate having this remembrance of them. It means a lot to us as well, what they did for the temple. On the other side, I'd like to congratulate all those that have graduated college. You know, you're the future also of this temple, and thank you for allowing us to recognize you today. We'd like to thank the ministers that drove all the way down from Orange County and Pasadena, Reverend Gibbs, Reverend John, and their wives. I know that drive can be quite long at times if there's traffic, so thank you for driving down. I'd like to thank the ministerial assistants for helping as well, and those that set up the Onaiji. And then Tricia, this is your last musical moment with us. She'll be leaving this week to Virginia, so thank you. Oh, Maryland, sorry. Thank you for allowing us to share your last event with us. Thank you for the AV, Reverend. You always do a great job. Thank you.
Thank you, Kurt. Will everyone please rise for the singing of the Gatha Ondok-san, and that can be found on page 128 of the service book.
Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu.
Please remain standing for a closing music meditation. May the wisdom of the all-compassionate one so shine within our hearts and minds, and the myths of error and the foolish vanity of self be dispelled. So shall we understand the changing nature of existence and reach spiritual peace. Kansho, Namo Amida Butsu.
Namo Amida Butsu.
Namo Amida Butsu.
Namo Amida Butsu.
Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Thank you. You may be seated. Are there any announcements at this time?
Hi, I'm Bill, one of the minister's assistants here. In years past, August was a quiet time, so people could go on summer vacation, etc. But the last year, and will continue this year, starting a week from tomorrow, August 10th, we'll have 3 services on basic Buddhism. We'll be focusing on the trunk of the great tree that allows the beautiful flowering of our temple to be here. And you're all welcome. The services will be very laid back, very sparse, and probably take about an hour, but I hope you can join us if that sounds of interest. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bill. For those of you, well, hope all of you are going to stay for the Odori coming up to dance in memory of all those who have passed away before us, and to enjoy the music and to dance to just dance to the Kangie of Obon. This concludes our service for today. I'd like to thank you for all attending. And I believe the food vendors will be opening up soon. And enjoy the evening as we all dance for Obon Odori. So thank you for coming today, attending, and you're welcome to Oshoko burn incense as you leave. Thank you.
Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu.